Beloved, winter is finally here in Chicago. Though the sun is not shining, I want to talk about shine, S-H-Y-N-E, and how it brought me to one of the best decisions I have made in my life. So, what does it mean to shine, S-H-Y-N-E, and what does it take to shine? And also, how has shining transformed my life? It all started in 2020 during the pandemic. I, like many Black creatives, was raised Christian. And no shade to people who are Christians, but I spent so much time in church and around church questioning not just my beliefs, but the beliefs of the community members who upheld Christian faith in my community. So, what did it take for me to shine? Well, pretty much, I had to leave Christianity behind. I can only laugh at that now, but I'm laughing because shining means being yourself at 10,000 degrees. It means walking in your truth, your higher calling, and your purpose unapologetically. Now, if you're like me, and maybe you are a person of color, you're Black, you grew up in church at some point, my experience was harrowing in the sense that I did something very courageous when I chose to shine, and I don't regret it. Shining for me meant sharing with the people who created me that I am a queer sunflower. I hate that the trash was in the shot. But anyway, in order to really shine as a person, I had to let people know who I am. And, I think in everyone's journey to discover who they are and how to express themselves, each of us has to cross a threshold. For some people, it's coming out of the closet, right? Thank goodness I didn't have a closet to come out of. Rather, I had a stage, I think, to step onto. I'm being facetious. I decided to shine as a Black queer woman. And that meant, for a number of reasons, that I was going to be the enemy to a lot of people who had known me already. Some of those people might even be watching this video. Beats me. But I think if I could give anyone anything on self-development as a Black creative professional, how to have courage in the face of fear, in the face of family pressure, cultural pressure, and religious views. Once you decide to shine, you ultimately lose. You might lose friends. You might lose the comfort of family members looking out for you and checking in on you. You may even be treated poorly, right? So why then is it important still, even if you are going to lose a number of things, undoubtedly, for expressing yourself and stepping into who you are without apology, even if you lose something on the back end, whether it be community, Like for me, I decided to really embrace who I am. And that meant deeply questioning people in authority who were in my life at that time. Pastors, community leaders. And the time I'm talking about would have been 2020. But I lost a lot of things when I decided to shine. I made a lot of people uncomfortable, probably. But here's the deal. Sometimes the most important decisions of your life will cost you everything. Important decisions in my life was to live for myself and to carry forward my cause. Now, living for myself and carrying forward my cause, it's like, who would think that these things would bring you to a place of loss? Well, the truth is, I've heard it several different ways. Sometimes people are committed to misunderstanding you in order not to face their own mirror, right? Looking deeply into another person very rarely comes without you doing the same toward yourself. So if people are going to be deeply committed to misunderstanding you, you might as well become deeply committed to yourself. And someone might say, how selfish. And I would say, you're right. It is selfish to think of yourself. But if you don't, who will? The people asking you to help them are not going to think of you. You know what I mean? Nod your head. So, back to shining. All of us reach a threshold where we either decide that some version of performative self-sacrifice is how we want to move through life. Performing some version of who we are for our spouse, our children, our coworkers, and our parents, right? So for a long time, I knew how to perform what I thought was just an identity for myself, right? I had long hair. I was super feminine. I was all up in the church house 7 days a week. And even though I was doing those things from a genuine place, one could say that you don't know you're performing until you probably outgrow or out-question the environments you're in. And if the people and places that are surrounding you ultimately can't support your fullest expression or questions around it, then might not be the space, right? So it's important to shine because you deserve to be happy. You deserve to live a life filled with goodness, good thoughts toward yourself, and you deserve to be seen. Don't hide, don't shrink, right? This is why you should shine. Shine also for the people in your bloodline who didn't get a chance to when they were alive. Your ancestors. They probably did not get to shine the way they wanted to in the era that they were in. And yeah, we do have a lot of pressures today that we face societally, but that's no reason to shrink. It's all the more reason to glow. Lastly, it's important to shine, because in doing so, you shine a light, literally, for the people who are like you and the people who are inspired by you. So let's say now that I'm shining, SHYNING, let's say there is a symbol on my forehead like this. And whenever I decide to laugh loudly, to wear different colors, to simply be myself at 10,000 degrees, it goes bing, 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 bing. Bing, 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 bing. Right? Yeah, that's what it means to shine. Oh, so if you've made it this far, I am Daniela Ayomide. I'm a community cultivator. I love talking about relational frameworks. I love mapping the qualities that make relationships healthy with yourself and with the outside world. And I like sharing about relational health from the perspective of Pan-Africanism. What does that mean? Pan-Africanism is a concept of unity across the continent that's not based in ethnic identity, but in the identification of values that bring us together. Compassionate curiosity, let's see, kindness, emotional intelligence. Those are just a few to name. But I'm glad that you're here with me week to week at Abstractly African. See you next time.